Yeah, we'll
I
see
am
what next.
so impressed with myself. You have no idea. Okay, everybody, this is MJ Network at Reststream, and we have the author of Base 2. This book is so cool, so
Thank you.
amazing. Dante is here, and I
Hi.
actually got on and I'm impressed. So, here is the book, and I read it 3 times just to make sure I got it right. This is really amazing. Now, we did the base 1 and base 2. Who are the major characters, and how did you create scene 1 in this particular one?
Well, from a quick summary, in book one, what we have is a sort of cat and mouse game. That's the theme of the base. The base is it is the military base that you get sent to if you have some exceptional skill, and then you get paired up with other people to make super, super classified top secret inventions. And so you have these scientists working together to make these top secret inventions, and then you have a bunch of spies and thieves that are trying to steal the inventions. So it's a cat and mouse game. So in the beginning of book two, we get a new scientist. And yep,
You know, the creepiest thing in the story were the spiders. I hate spiders. They're so scary. And then oh God, we used to get them when I went away. It's like, oh my God, these things. Well, some of them are cute though. Whatever. So, what is their first order of business? So we read pages 15 to 70. What are they planning to do? And I felt so bad for the spiders. What are baby shockers? And why do they have to use spiders? I felt so bad for the spiders.
okay, well what's happening there is one of the scientists is an expert in what they call entomology. He's a military entomologist, and we can see on the cover of book one, he's the guy in the middle.
I still have that.
and then on book two, he's the guy in the middle again. His name, the actor, and we're filming, by the way,
Uh huh.
is yes, big fun. His name is Dennis Liverani. He plays the Bugman in the book, and so the reason that we do a lot with spiders is they have a lot of properties that the military can find useful. A lot of people don't realize that their spider webs, the silk that they spin, is very, very strong stuff. And in addition to it being strong stuff, um, it also can conduct electricity well. Mm. So there's, there. So when you need something super, super thin like that, and you all know how thin a spider web thread is, to carry electrical current, that could really come in handy for a military
Right.
invention.
You know, I get upset because I don't like killing animals. Well, bugs that bite, that's different.
Yeah,
But when I see somebody kill a spider web, I get upset because you're
yeah,
killing
they can
something
be.
alive, and it's wrong. I mean, we had them when I went away, and it's like you can't kill the spider web, so we would catch the spider and let it go. But you have to pray that it's not going to sting you. But you can't kill a spider.
Well,
You
spider
see,
webs are great. I had to do so much research for this book
yeah,
series, but they also catch mosquitoes. So if you see a
yeah.
web, leave it alone.
But my favorite, first of all, I have to tell you, my favorite character is the Bug Man. I love the Bug Man. He's so cool. So, what are bagworms and what's their role? I learned a lot reading this. Trust me.
Okay, so I actually have some bagworms here to show you. So I'm going to hold them up. These are the pods.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. And so the what bagworms do is they love evergreens, any type of evergreen, and they will chew it to pieces. They're evil. But as you can see from the pods that I'm holding up, what they do is they are very good at disguising themselves when they are going to
Yeah.
um, plant the next generation of bagworms. They use the pine needles and stuff like that and their silk to make these cones that sort of look just like they're part of the plant. and it's very easy to mistake them as part of the plant. The reason why the bagworms are significant in the book is because bagworm silk is unbelievably strong, and it also conducts electricity better than a lot of metal components and other elements. And so the military wants to have something that can give shocks, but
It's like amazing.
but they want it to be something that the enemy can't see coming. And so to have this very thin, very, very thin web, I mean, the silk that the bagworms shoot out is just about as thin as spider silk. And have that be able to give someone a good solid zap, that really appeals to the military. And that's why they have very diverse scientists working on this invention.
Well, I looked up a whole lot. I'm bad. I looked up everything. I think that's like, oh my God, I'm glad I'm not in the room with those things. So, but then we've got the people that I'm not crazy about. We got Venus, Metal
Yeah.
Mike, and Preacher Paul, and
Mhm.
they're up to no good. Well, if they weren't up to no good, there wouldn't be a plot. And if everything was perfect, I'd be bored.
Yes. So, we have to have villains in books.
Yeah.
And as writers, you don't want to glorify the villain and make people want to grow up and be a villain. But those three villains are just really bad.
They're really good villains too.
Thank you.
I really hated them, and at the end of the story, I was like, oh, I thought, oh my God, because there's going to be more. There's going to be a base three.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
counting on it. Now, who is the doctor they held, and who is PC?
Okay, the PC was in book one,
Oh, that's
the
me.
base book one. And
Oh,
what the PC is they're terrible. They're villains. And PC stands for Pharmaceutical Cartel. And what they do is they steal just about anything they can that is related in the field of pharmacy. And they will steal recipes for a drug that is going to be patented, that is supposed to do wonderful things for humanity. In book one, they steal the recipe for a drug that is supposed to be tremendous in curing
wow.
SIDS. But they also steal other pharmaceutical things and resell them. They're evil.
I've been watching the news too much. Much
Yeah,
too much. I have
yeah,
my own whatever. And Preacher Paul reminds me of some of the people on the boat on the news. He has a one way. I wonder sometimes because I know that when I went to synagogue, the rabbi would ask for money
hmm
every time you went there. They would, and my family was very big at the temple, so we used to give more than we're supposed to. We
right.
supported it. But how does he get people to give money at his congregation? And
Well,
what,
the thing
I mean, seriously, he's a smart guy. Well, he tries to be anyway.
that's the thing, and it can happen in any denomination of religion. In the book, it doesn't specify a denomination. It can also happen in any charitable organization where you get someone who's charismatic and knows how to just push the right buttons on someone and turn them into an ATM. you know. And unfortunately, there are some people that are very good at that. But then another thing the book sort of hints at is that if you don't have oversight, things like this can happen. The old saying, the cat's away, the mouse play.
Uh huh.
And so that's the situation. The people that are supposed to be watching this church and just keeping an eye on things, because every institution needs someone to sort of keep an eye on things and watch it. They're raking in lots of money, so they assume everything's great,
That's
and
amazing.
everything's not great.
Now, where am I? What is the role of the surgeon and who is describe the offices and how they work? This was interesting.
Well, in book one, they they had something going on there. The PC had this lab, and the lab was on the first floor, and they had scientists working there and stuff like that. And that was where they would sometimes steal formulas and other things like that. But the PC was also pretty
Yeah.
ruthless. If they didn't trust somebody, then
Scary.
yeah, then what they would do is they would, the way they would put it is they would send you to the basement. Now, the basement is where they
Ooh.
would take people that they suspected of something, or even if you looked at people the wrong way, they would just send you to the basement, and then you would be
Yeah.
used for whatever they wanted to use you for. Now, the surgeon was sent
Yeah.
to the basement, but um, Metal Mike thought, no, he wasn't disloyal. I
I
mean,
know.
and he said, this guy's got a lot of skills. Let's take him. He's ruthless and he's just like us, and he's got a lot of talents that he uses for the wrong purposes. So let's just snatch that guy up.
The
And so
part
they
that
do.
I hated that scared me was
Yeah,
how did you create hell?
hell was so
You
much
know,
fun.
too bad you can't really do that in real life.
I know. Hell, hell was so much fun because, you
Yeah.
know, I like to think that if that God knows all of us and He knows all of our thoughts and He knows the exact reason why we did something, whether we had good intentions or not. Well, I also think the devil knows us real well,
That's
and that
scary.
if you get sent downstairs instead of getting sent, up to heaven later, um, then the devil, because he knows you and he knows all your thoughts and everything like that, he's going to give you quite the experience. Like he knows you couldn't stand your brother-in-law. That was the person you hated the most when you lived up on Earth. So why not make you two roommates, for eternity? And so I had a lot
Scary.
of fun creating hell. All the things that we hate are there. Telemarketers, infomercials,
Uh-huh.
one size fits all pantyhose. It's in hell.
I could think of a few people that deserve to be there.
Yep, yep.
So now this is the most important part.
Hmm.
What is the vector takes place and what happens when they have the first one? What's tested?
Well, what the thing is they in book one they were trying to make a vector one,
Yeah.
and that was a fabulous device because it can, and the reason why everyone wants to steal it is because if you have this thing, you have what every military in the world wants. You have um, an an army, but it is an army that not a human army, and it can self-replicate, and it can do all kinds of things, and it's going to be obedient, and it's going to do exactly what you say the way you say it. That's it. In book two, what
Yeah.
they are trying to do is they're making miniature versions of these things, and they are going to make a force field. And so these little tiny clear balls, they look like marbles. What they can do is they can shoot silk out to each other, and they can, get into a round circle, shoot out silk, and then you get what looks like a spider web. And then one of the balls can activate that spider web and make it electric to deliver a series of shocks, small, medium, and large.
Oh God.
Yes, and you don't want to get the large shock because the first experiment failed. I'll have to let you read it
That's
to
right.
figure
Yeah.
out what happened.
It's oh God. Now my favorite part of the book was the dust cloud. I love the dust clouds for some reason. So why did they take center stage, the dust clouds?
Well, the thing is, those dust clouds are
Yeah.
they. Let me see. They're actually called dust devils.
Yeah, dust devils. That's my
Yeah,
next question, dust devil.
and there's dust devils actually happen on all seven continents, and the places that they happen most often, believe it or not, are baseball fields. And so many people think of a dust devil as a dirty tornado that is going to attach to something up in the sky.
You know,
And they're similar to, sometimes people see water spouts. But a dust devil can't attach to the sky because the precise environmental conditions for them to exist requires no clouds. And tornadoes, as we all know, go from the top down. Dust devils go from the ground up, and they can get pretty strong. They can throw things around and do exactly what a tornado does. And so in book 2, we open, and the newest scientist is a military meteorologist. And so we get to see what adding a meteorologist into the mix, someone who knows everything about lightning and someone who knows everything about dust devils, does to the story.
They have so many different rooms. The test fails, and I don't trust Metal Mike and Benny Venus. So the rooms are described on pages 50 to 62. How did you describe the colors of the rooms? I like pink. Not
Okay.
really. Red is,
Yeah,
red is my color.
Yes, especially for flowers. I love them. Well, the rooms, I think you're referring to the rooms in the church, because that is the bad church, and where they have neglected to supervise Venus, Preacher Paul, Metal Mike, and the surgeon. And so what they do is they take those rooms and they convert them to different things for nefarious purposes.
This is really cool. People, you got to read this book.
Thank
Seriously.
you.
Well, yesterday, the weirdest thing, because I was on yesterday, braving it again, um, somebody posted it goes to YouTube, that's where it is now. It's
Hmm.
on LinkedIn, and it's everywhere. Who knows where? But somebody put it on Facebook. I never put anything on Facebook, ever, about this. And people are commenting about it. I got about 250 views of the one I did yesterday. If I post your thing on LinkedIn, you'll probably get about 500. I don't know why they're following me. Plus, I have to say thank you to my niece, Katie Rose. She listens to my video tapes because she has a degree in psychology and criminal justice. So she likes to listen. Yeah, so she said that I didn't look bad. I did a good job because she would tell me. So people are listening. So what is the significance of the crowns? And tell us about Venus and her hit. Oh, she's really evil. I like her.
Thank you. Okay, crowns. Well, one of
Yeah,
the things, the crown becomes significant because
yeah,
Max says that crowns are heavy. And what he means by that is if you get to the top of the ladder, if you are the
yeah,
top person at anything, there
yeah.
are people underneath you that would like your job. And so they wouldn't mind undermining you or doing whatever they can do to get your job. So when Max complains about a crown being heavy, it's because, here he is, he's the king. But the crown is heavy, it weighs you down.
Oh God.
Hmm.
So who is Helen and who is Graham and who is Arthur?
Well, it seems
You gotta
that
hard at this,
when
people.
Venus was born, so was Helen. Hmm. Hmm.
She's really evil. You
And
gotta love
so
her.
Venus is terribly evil, but Helen, because they were both born together, we can assume they're twins. I'll let you read a little more on that. But the one of the homes that Helen was in when she was in foster care, because Venus and Helen were separated, was a home run by Graham and Arthur, and that was a perfect foster placement for Helen. She really took to it, and they have an incredible family bond.
Now we have the good questions on the next page.
Hmm.
What is it? What map force field? What is the map force field test? That was interesting. And what are Max? I felt so bad for Max and Frank. I wanted to go there and smash the guy for hurting them. I got nervous that there's something really bad does, but it's not good.
Well, the force field is when they take those little baby shockers, which are mini sort of vector ones, and they look like marbles, and the marbles all disperse until they are one big circle. And then what they do is they spit out the silk, the bioengineered silk. It's similar to spider and bagworm silk. They spit that out in between them. So when you look at that
Ooh,
thing from above, it really does look like a spider web. They're all in the circle, and the web is in that, pie chart pattern in between them. So then what happens is they can electrify that. And when they do, they electrify it, and whatever is anywhere in that force field is going to get zapped. But it's an incredibly effective thing, because an object was only like 2 centimeters outside of the force field and had no damage at all.
that's scary. This is scary.
Hmm.
Now, the prophet, I'm not sure about him. What does the prophet get? Describe his home, and what happened to the security guard? There's nobody safe in this book, people.
Well, the thing is because the
Yeah.
military base is like any other military base. It's in a little bit away from the rest of the community, and the prophet is a retired security person who works in the security booth as the cars come in and out. And he never lost his knack for being nosy. So he sort of keeps an eye on everyone, and he's actually more effective than some of the security systems they had there. The base is, the time period it covers is the late 70s. Now security has, really surpassed that in leaps and bounds. It's incredible. So in the old days, we used to like to, have someone who was really nosy. They came in handy. And so basically, that is the role of the prophet. And he can sort of keep an eye on things and tell the base commander and everyone else before they know they have a problem.
That's amazing. That's really scary. But the point is that also now we have chapter 23, which is really scary. I have that right over here.
Hmm.
And that's the summer. The bear has arrived, blah, blah, blah. And the surgeon makes a mistake working with PC himself. So that's one. And why do they have to seal the lab? And then when it gets to my favorite character, Helen.
Well,
I love Helen.
yeah, I really admire Helen. I really do. And it was good to write someone I admire. You can't have all villains. Gotta have some good guys in there. But and the scientists are all good guys.
Yeah.
But let me see. The the experiments and stuff like that, they really help them sort of zero in on perfecting their device. But when they do that, everyone keeps trying to steal the device and steal the perfections and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
every now and then, one of the devices fails, and some of these folks, you have to think before you steal something. If you don't know how to work it, what do you really want a military invention in your house that you don't know how to work?
Oh,
I mean,
God help us.
do you want something like that in the trunk of your car? I mean, just not a good idea.
Not a good idea to have the spiders around either.
No,
So,
no, unless
so
you
now we
know.
have Helen.
Hmm.
This was clever. Always there are always people that want to impersonate other people. They
Yes,
want to be, and that's hard to do. To
yes,
change the way you look. I try to do that every day. It doesn't help. What can I tell you?
yeah.
So, what happens to Helen, and why do they think that she's Venus? Do they ever figure it out?
Well, Venus has
She's evil.
Venus is super evil,
Yeah, I
and
know.
since Helen is her closest blood relation, um, even though they were separated very, very, very young, I mean, shortly after birth, Venus has always kept an eye on Helen. And Venus has referred to Helen as my retirement plan.
Yeah.
And Venus has always said, if anything ever goes wrong,
So,
I'll have to snatch Helen and get her to take the blame for it, because they are very similar in appearance. And so poor Helen. She's a really, really good-hearted person, and she never once stepped into any of the fields or any of that nefarious stuff that Venus does. But since Venus knows how to impersonate Helen well enough, when the time comes to sort of cash in and try to use her and get her blamed for something, um, that got a little sticky.
Well, she's coming back, I imagine, for
Of
the next
course,
one. Well, of
of
course
course.
she is. You know
Yes.
what? I get, I hate when the bad characters get away with it, but it's more fun when the author has the smartness to bring them back again before they get rid of them. It makes it more interesting. And you know what? I find I read like in the last too many years that I've been doing this, too many.
Uh-huh.
I've read about 15,000 books. Seriously, last week alone, I and my eyes were bothering me. I read like five. And the post office, if they don't bring my books to them, I'm going to scream.
Mm.
They haven't brought it. They brought something yesterday that I'm reading, and it's like, oh God, why? And it's a murder mystery, and it's oh God, why? But I'll read it. So, what happens when Max and Frank and the bakery, and who's Macy? I like her too.
Okay, so let me see. Hell can get a little interesting.
Yeah, this is yeah.
So Max and Frank wind up in hell. That happens, right around book two. I mean, book one, actually. So they're deceased. They took a device, a military device. They didn't know how to use it, and oops, it blew up. Oops. Perhaps you should know how to use something before you steal it. You think? Anyway, so Helen and Graham go into a fabulous bakery together, and Max is so upset because he knows that from down below, they can see everything that's going on up here. They can see it, they can smell it, all the wonderful smells that are in the bakery, everything. It just surrounds
Oh
you.
yeah.
Isn't it great? But there they are in hell. They can smell and see everything that the folks upstairs can see, but they don't get to have any. Mm, that's rough.
This is like so amazing. Now, page one, what did they test on page 199? And somebody is playing two sides against the middle. I got that one too.
Yeah,
I'm impressed
actually,
sometimes when I actually get what the book is about. This was hard.
well, it's a roller coaster. It really is, and
Yeah.
they but every now and then you'll get someone who's supposed to behave, but then they say, "Wow, you know what? I can make some money misbehaving," and so they cross over to the dark side and they decide to be a double agent, and that doesn't always work too well because yes, if you work for Venus, you could potentially make a lot of money, but you have to always remember that you worked for Venus. And Venus is pretty ruthless. I don't think I want her as a boss.
Okay, now I have a question.
Sure.
Was the first book, I really thought it was cool that you brought the kids in.
Yes.
Are they going to bring them in again on the third one?
Oh, yes, yes,
They
yes.
added something to it because they're not the typical kids. They're not obnoxious. They're polite, not like today, and
Yep.
respectful, like I was.
Well, those
I
when I
really
did
like
visit
them.
military bases, I noticed the kids
Yeah,
there were very different, and the
yeah,
society there, just in general, it was much more ordered. And
yeah,
so the kids were very, very smart. They're the households that I visited, there wasn't like a huge emphasis on screen time or video games and stuff like that. So the kids were um, just not socialized in that way. So their vocabularies were different, and they were, they played differently as well. And I really did like the families I visited when I was doing the research for the book.
I felt like I was growing up there again. I was not allowed to play video games or even watch television during the week.
Yeah,
I'm not that old. My mother said, you have homework and you'll read 5 books a week.
yeah,
And I spent a lot of time in the library. And
sure.
yeah, libraries now you can take out as many as you want. But if they didn't, librarian didn't like you, you could only take out one. They used to let me take out 10. Thank you. So I know. So what happens to Vector 1?
Well, Vector 1 gets modified. And
Oh, good.
Vector 1 in the first book, Vector 1 is this fabulous drone that has different
Yeah.
elements brought into it. It has to be, the Army gives you what they call a spec sheet. And rather, the military for these scientists gives them a spec sheet. It's a list of all the attributes that they want a certain device to have. And some of those attributes are like based on the environment the device will be in. So it has to be able to handle a certain temperature range. And it has to be able to handle like water or possibly being submerged. You know, different things that it would hypothetically encounter out in the real world. And so Vector 1, when they made it, it was great and everything like that, but now they need to refine it and make it even better. And so they do.
Are you going to bring spiders back next time again?
Could you repeat that?
Are you going to bring spiders back next time again?
It is, the roller coaster is really getting more and more fun. There are some new
Good.
scientists that are going to pop up in book 3. I'm really
Oh, good.
enjoying, yes, yes. And it's going to add a lot of different elements and scenarios to the mix. And there are also some different people that make the mistake of wanting to work for Venus, and that's never a good idea.
Well, you know what really added to it? I'm going to be a real whatever. Seriously? Is are the pictures of the guys that were part of this. That was my favorite part. Looking at the faces of these guys in the book and
But
how they and let me tell you, the Bugman is my favorite. He's so cute. But the guy over there, Cullen, whoa.
yes, we
That
have
was really sort of brought it into life, even though you don't know them, but you sort of figure, oh, I'm looking at this guy, and then the girl, whoa.
we had I was very, very privileged because I have 3 actors. I'm going to show the cover of book 1
Yeah,
now. The gentleman in the middle, I already told you, is portraying the Bugman. That's Dennis Liverani. The
yeah,
gentleman playing Cullen is right over here, and
yeah.
his name is Doug Petrick, and Cullen is also a military scientist. These are the 3 scientists on the
That's
cover.
good.
And then the one I'm pointing to now, right above the title, the base, that is the actor Roy Lee. And he is portraying Mr. Clark, and he does all that fun wiring and stuff using microfilaments to animate anything that the other 2 create and make it obedient and for computer commands. But here is the big, big fun part of the story. I am adapting the base to film, and I have a goal of making this into a streaming series. And so we have started to shoot a trailer. And so this past Sunday, I was in the room with all 3 of the scientists,
That's
and they
great.
it was great. They had all of them had on lab coats, and we had a replica of a vector that they were experimenting with. And making the vector was hilarious. And I had to have everything in my fridge out of the fridge so I could store it until it made its camera debut. But it was very funny. You know, they're all there in their lab coats and everyone is getting positioned in front of the camera crew and everything like that. And then I pulled this vector out and no one could keep a straight face. So if you've read the books, you know what the vector is supposed to feel like and what it's supposed to look like. And you'll understand why 3 grown men were on the floor laughing for about half an hour.
You're
But
very lucky because you can't get people to help people when they write a book. And every author, whatever, and I read horror, whatever,
mhm.
and I asked some of the authors, what would you do? Could you, some of them read it, but you don't get any support. They don't help you. And these are the same people whose books I review and they interview, whatever, so I just forgot it. So I'm going to try something different next time instead of horror. My book is called Mirror Image. If you do something wrong and you don't repent, you wind up as a face in the mirror forever.
Mm, wow.
Practice it. Yeah, it's scary. They didn't get it. So, Venus, what happens if Venus doesn't succeed?
Well, Venus is extremely materialistic. She
Yeah.
is not someone who is, if she fails at something, is going to go to a local restaurant and flip burgers or wash dishes or, just be resourceful like the rest of us have to.
Yeah.
Um, she's not like that because she wants the most expensive things and she has sort of booked herself into a lifestyle that is beyond her means. And so she has to really just constantly tread water to maintain that lifestyle because she wants to be, in these elite circles and she wants all these incredible things. And so she chose that and it's a lot of work. Hmm.
It's more fun to be evil sometimes than
Mm-hmm.
being nice. And sometimes, well, I didn't like her, but I thought she was very well written, very well played. And I
Well,
really
the
thought that was
actress,
good.
we are going to film a scene this Sunday with the actress who's going to play Venus and a great actor who's going to play the bartender.
Are you going to
And
have this? Is this going to be a movie?
it's going to be a trailer,
Oh,
and it will
good.
be on the YouTube channel and also on my website when we're done stringing it together. We're going to be shooting probably through mid-April, and then it comes down to editing and putting all the sounds underneath it and stuff. So I'm hoping by June to have it complete, but all I can say is filming is addicting. I mean, and if you adapt your book into film, um, going out and shooting with all these people and stuff, it's just too much fun. I wish I
Okay.
had done it earlier.
Well, you got to come on again to tell me about it when it gets out so we can promote it.
Excellent. I really appreciate that, and then that will hopefully coincide with book 3.
I guarantee when this is done, if I don't screw up downloading it, there's a thing called video storage. You
Hmm.
lose your mind with this thing. And then you have to download the thing. Then I download it 3 times to make sure I don't lose it. Then I save it 7 times to make sure that it's there. Then I pray that when I send it to the off to you, that's not the picture, that's the video. It gets complicated. And I'm getting really good at this though. So what could I say? What
Well,
happens with Helen, and how does she? What happens to her? How do you make somebody else, or does she stay somebody else? I like her.
Well, I think it's because the law enforcement finally decided
Yeah,
when they realized that we'll just say that Venus was
yeah.
trying to steal Helen's identity. Hmm. The law enforcement decided, okay, if you're going to do that, then we're going to do it back to you. And so they decide
That's good.
to try to steal Venus's identity and give her a little bit of a thrill with that. Maybe they scared her because they got a little too good at what they were doing. So that scene is another roller coaster. They did succeed in scaring Venus, which is very unusual because Venus, as we know, is rotten to the core
Yep.
and she doesn't scare too easy. But she did. She got spooked.
Well, there's a whole bunch here at the end. I'm not going to say what it is. Oh, this is chapter 51. Oh, the gate is well, what happens and whatever. And we have another character. Who is Tommy? He was at the end, and then how did you write that song? Oh, it's so pretty. I
Thank
played
you.
the piano, so I was able to play that.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome.
So I was able to hear it. At least the right hand.
Well, Macy and Tommy,
Yeah,
and I know you asked me before who Macy was. Macy and Tommy are the children of Cullen,
yeah.
and they're best friends with Pam and Spencer, who are the children of Mr. Clark. So Macy and Tommy and the family, they get to go to a fair and they get to see the different animals there and experience all the fun things that you do at a fair. And this was their first time there, and these kids are very young. So you can imagine they were just beyond excited. I mean, you know how kids get. I mean, you know, just bouncing off the walls like, wow, this is so cool. And so they have a great time there. And Macy's mother, Mrs. Cullen, is someone who makes up songs on the spot, silly songs, and just has a ball with it. And occasionally she'll sing them at top volume at the house or wherever they are. And as a joke, some of the neighbors who can hear them, because the houses are kind of close together, start singing it back. So they have a wonderful scene where pretty much the whole neighborhood winds up singing one of those silly songs.
There were some scenes that I just wish there were pictures so I could see it. But actually, I really wanted to see the experiment with pictures so I could see how you did it. 'Cause
Well,
that's me.
you may get that opportunity because we are seriously trying to make this a
Oh,
streaming
good.
series. And, you know, I'll definitely keep you posted on that because we're just having too much fun filming right now.
Well, I hope a lot of people are reading the book. So, how did you create the final scenes, and what's next for the team?
Well, let me see. As we know, none of the good die young, and in this series, since sometimes they go to hell, and you get to see hell. Even if they do die, they don't always, you know, disappear. So, so yes, the gang is going to be reunited, and work is being done on book 3. A lot of work, actually, and really enjoying the research. I mean, you know, for book 2, doing the research on tornadoes,
It's
dust
fun.
devils, lightning, I learned so much, you know.
Well,
So
you
book 3 is going to have all kinds of fun in it, and you know, scratch your noggin because I have a lot of fun research and things, but also we have villains, and villains are fun too.
this is going to be fun. Let me tell you.
Thank you.
And you know what? This is, I have to say, this is my fifth stream. The fifth time I'm doing this. I'm getting used to it. It's hard because Blog Talk was easier.
Hmm.
It took me an hour and a half to log on today because they didn't take my password.
Oh,
Restream. I had a fit. I'm saying I started to log in at 9 o'clock, and I changed my password 10 times, and they said I was wrong. Until
oof.
finally, I decided to log in with Google and say the heck with you. So I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to log in on Monday just to make sure that I'm okay. No, Sunday for Monday and Tuesday. Because next week on Monday I have Stacia Moffat, The Missing Girl, and Jessie is back, two books. And on
Mm,
Tuesday, one of my favorite people who writes for Criminal Minds, D.P. Lyle,
mm.
Tunica. And then to start off March, Tess Gerritsen on March 5th. And a whole bunch more. It gets, yeah. This is fun. It's not easy. So where can everybody find out more about you? And yeah, I posted the review, and I posted the review on LinkedIn. I got views.
Thank you for doing that, and thank you for supporting authors. You know, it's really great that we have the audience, and that you
Yeah,
are showing people what's out there. I really appreciate it. You can go, if you look at how I spell my name here, DanteTherese.com. The base series is available on Amazon. And so if you type in the base and then you type in, or else you type in my name, Dante, Dante, Terese. That's also the name on my website and YouTube channel, where I will post this video when you give me the link. Yeah. Um, but,
not only that, it's on YouTube now. When
oh,
I
wonderful.
invite Ed Stream, it's
Hmm.
gonna be on LinkedIn, and for all I know, it could be on FaceTime, Facebook, and everywhere. And the minute it goes public,
Hmm.
people they do listen to it. I'm so sorry, people. They do listen to it. And I have not gotten anybody that has
Hmm.
ever said anything negative. The only sad thing that happened on the third one is the link went to the wrong person. So the poor author couldn't log in. But when she finally did, we did a
Hmm.
special on Black History. And this
Oh,
is the
that's great.
second one. There's the second one right here.
Yeah, this is book 2. We have the same 3 actors, and those are
I can't
one
wait.
of the Jeeps on the cover is from World War II. It's 1942 Jeep, and the other one is a 1952 Jeep.
Well,
And
I can't wait for book 3 already.
thank you.
And whenever the video comes out, tell me because that's more fun.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I truly hope that you can do some of that with your writing as
Oh,
well,
trust me, I'll
because
do something with every. You know something? I've been doing this, and this is like all new to me. This whole thing. And then when Blog Talk sent a letter, an email on January 1st that they were going down on the 31st, they destroyed a lot of people because you had to look for someplace else. And there are a few other, there's only one call-in site, and I won't use them. So I braved it with Restream, and it's not easy, but this is fine. There's nobody gets scared when they see my face. What can I tell you?
well, I think, I think this is sort of the way things are going. I think
And that's
people,
what, yeah.
yeah, that people want to feel like they're in your living room and they want to talk to you and they want to see who they're talking to. And so what that means for us folks is that, we have to look pretty or at
It's
least
great.
try.
The first one I ever did is the number one author in the world, Peter James. He loves me.
Wow.
He thinks I'm a riot. And he sets up the Zooms himself. I'm not allowed to do anything. The publicist, he sets up when the show is. He sets up, you don't sell with Peter. He's great. And he picks out which glasses I'm allowed to wear. For real. And he tells me, well, you look cute, whatever. And he's the one that did the Zoom. So I got used to it, to doing it. So doing this myself, but thank you so much. This has made my whole day.
I really am thankful that you're around and that you're supporting us authors. And
Yeah, anytime.
yeah, I'm just really thankful. This is always something I look forward to with you. And I will definitely reach out to you again when we have the video. You'll get this. The scientists were hilarious on Sunday. Hilarious. So I think you'll enjoy that.
I would love it. This is because my sister, before she died, I
Mm,
weigh 97 pounds. I weigh 200 pounds because my mother had Alzheimer's and I retired from teaching early
right.
because of my mother. And my sister said, you look like a couch potato. I go, thanks a lot. So I wrote a book about us growing up in the South Bronx.
Hmm.
And she hated me for that. The true stories. And I put them into 3 books after she died. Sisters, two sisters from the Bronx. So Marcia Joyce is the reason for this. So I thank God that she was there at least to see something. But thank you so much,
Thank you.
everybody. Have a great day. It's beautiful outside. It's 12 degrees.
Yeah, a little
It's
frosty.
it's freezing. Have a great day and bye.
Bye.